Da 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 da.
Oh shit.
Welcome back to your second installment of this season of Harambedome.
And I'm gonna win the league. And I'm gonna win the league. And I'm gonna win the league. And I'm gonna win. And I'm gonna win the league.
This is
That's me.
oh there you
I'm gonna
let's
win the
just let's
league.
just have this guy introduce himself.
I'm gonna
Here's our
win the
first
league.
guest.
Yeah, let him.
Just let him.
All right. You know me. It's Loesch who's gonna win the league. Undefeated this season. Off to a great start. It's not changing anytime soon, by the way.
What's your team name
We'll
now?
see. The auto draft shaft.
Okay. Okay. What made you so the shaft is you're talking about. Well, and this will lead right into it because you want to talk about how you got shafted from
Well,
your
we do have
supposed
another guest.
Oh, was he going to be I was going to say was he going to be a surprise like as Loesch tried to defend himself? I thought that's how I
What do you mean
interpreted your
tried
text
to
earlier.
defend himself? Well, I'm not fucking Deshaun Watson. I'm not defending myself
Let's
from anything.
introduce another one of our studs.
For the Honorable Judge McClendon. They have brought me here to make sure Cole does not pull a fast one over these slow thinking motherfucking hosts that we got lately.
I would definitely do that if you weren't here, JB.
He'd be able to, 100%.
All right.
No offense to the host. Jordan, great work securing that Dr. Thunder.
Thank
Just
you.
inspiring. Absolutely inspiring. Sean, you haven't changed a whole lot about the show, but you're doing great.
I'll tell you, it's
Yeah,
refreshing.
it's set it up for success.
It's possibly the single most hydrating soft beverage on the market. So yeah, I'm glad.
I'll tell you what it's really good for. I found Dr. Thunder removes impurities from your system very quickly. After only 1 month on Dr. Thunder, I suffered 3 kidney stones. Imagine that stuff still being in my kidneys.
Oh, dude, yeah, exactly. Thank you.
Well, let's go ahead and transition back to Loesch and have you actually. I want to start before we get into the whole like you having to settle this whole thing with the plane ride. Let's talk about another plane ride.
Alleged.
We haven't been together since you've gone on this plane ride. I think the summit was before the plane ride too. So why don't you go ahead and break down for everybody who's going to listen? How was your punishment?
I mean,
Tell us
that
about
shit
it.
sucked. That shit was terrible. There's no way around it. I've also said my piece on this. The way that you scheduled it was bullshit. Sean is out here. He likes to act all like, "Oh, I'm innocent. I'm a teacher. I'm a cool guy. I don't touch kids." Reality, he's a horrible person. Nobody told him to schedule the flights like this, but he decided to do it for maximum pain. His true colors were shown, even though we all already knew. But I'm just saying, Sean, you're a bitch. That shit sucked. It was terrible. United is an ass airline, which is fine because we're sponsored by Delta. United sucks. It's terrible. The airports that I flew into sucked. It was terrible. That shit took forever. I left 30 minutes after midnight. Most of my flights got delayed. It was awful. But I did it. JB, how was your plane ride? Oh, great. I forgot. You didn't do it.
So I was completing a master's program and I had an exam on the following like Monday or something. I was not
Oh,
gonna
I
risk.
hear excuses.
Okay.
Didn't he attempt it twice as well? Like I'm just saying, you gave us 1 weekend. It was well within the rules of what the punishment stated. Yeah, so I mean, I don't know. And if you didn't want to fly, don't lose.
Also, I will add my flights were direct. Um, so the punishment that was set up for me was easier than the punishment that Loesch was to face
And
in
this
this
goes
case.
back to what I've been saying the whole time. I don't know why the fuck Sean did it like that. Completely unnecessary.
I'll tell you what, Loesch, I'm going to sit here and act like I'm going to take not doing punishments sitting down because I think I completed the most punishments in the league, or at least tied for it. I don't walk away from anything, man. Like that ain't a problem with me.
Okay,
Genuinely, I could not get on that plane for fear of wasting thousands of dollars of my own money at a university.
question. Is it because I've lost the league twice. It's also 2 for you, right?
Okay, I guess we're tied. Yeah, in that
Yeah.
case.
Okay. Well, because I want to call out making the deucing was a punishment. I did have to impart a part of my soul into that thing when I made it, which is actually why it turned out so
It's
shitty.
like a fucking Horcrux. There's a piece of gold in it.
No,
What the hell?
literally, in like 40 years, when you guys are like, Cole, why do you still look so young and trollish? That's gonna be why. You ever noticed how it's still like degrading,
The
Yeah.
even though it's
deuce.
covered in lacquer?
I've luckily never had it, so I don't notice changes in it.
Point is, it is actually just like a Horcrux.
That's interesting. Does that mean that
I don't remember that.
you have more losses in store because you have to keep it kind of connected to you in that way? Like it has to come
That
back to you
doesn't
every
make
once
any
in a
sense,
while?
Sean.
I mean, you've already lost twice, so I'm just coming from a perspective just
Yeah,
Well,
trying
it's
then
to
I'll
called
figure it
being
out.
bad
So,
at fantasy football.
I'll say
well,
Is
too,
it-
if you both lost twice, you say that you had to technically take an L by making that, but then you'd be tied for punishments completed, right? Because Wardle kind of screwed you out of doing one of the punishments by not showing up to the dinner. Am I remembering that correctly?
Which honestly might even offset it, because not seeing Wardle is a reward in its own right.
well, but also, wait, who lost? But we've had the deucing since the beginning, right? So you're saying that it's like a third punishment on its own. Oh, you were saying that it's its own separate thing. Okay. Yeah, well, you
I'm
didn't
just
have to
saying
do
that
one
like
because
I
JV.
lost, and having to make the deucing was a punishment.
Okay. Yeah.
okay. Well,
So,
now that we've gotten that out of the way, I mean, we do need to dive into this whole like missing the draft because of a flight thing.
all right.
So you just confessed to having gone through a flight across the country and back where all your flights were delayed. The ground level, you know, the shit's happening, right?
I mean, it's still not something that you should expect. Like, do you expect there to be a car accident on the road every single time that you drive?
If
I think
I'm
it'd be
going on I
foolish.
four,
I
yes,
think
I
it'd be
do. Yes,
foolish
I
to
do.
like leave. Okay, well, you're weird, right? Like, I don't think that's something that like everybody does. And I would say, like, I think it would be foolish to leave 30 minutes before like you have to, because oh no, I might like if it's something that's really important. Okay, I regret saying that because that implies the draft isn't really important. But
Ladies and
no, I'm not
gentlemen, we got him.
expecting. I'm not expecting flights to be delayed, right? So what happened is on the flight, Wi-Fi wasn't working. I try to connect when I get on the flight. It's not working. Unable to connect. I'm finally able to connect like 3/4 of the way through. I join in. That's what Jordan saw. Round 18.
I
Where'd
don't
you
think there
fly
are
from?
18 rounds.
Yeah, there's 16 rounds actually.
Pick
So,
18. Whatever. It was after. It was. It was more than like halfway through the draft.
Where'd you fly from?
I was flying back home.
Oh, so you're leaving Seattle at this point?
Went to. I was in Nashville.
so, and
Oh, I
just to
see.
make this
Back
clear,
home to Seattle. Okay.
just
Yeah.
to make this clear, so because you had hopped on for the wheel spin prior to the drafts. That was what, like two? I think it was at 5:15. So at
Yeah, and then
5,
I got on the flight.
and I think what we finished that wheel spin maybe like 5:30, 5:35. So around that time, like 2.5 hours before
Look,
the
Sean, I
flight.
sent you a photo of the confirmation of my ship being delayed. It happened.
When did that? What photo?
I was on the flight. I could pull it up. I have the screenshot. Maybe I've just put it in the group me chat. Fact of the matter is, I was on a flight during the draft. And you know what? I'm not even sorry about it. I think my draft turned out very well.
So it
Well,
appears
we'll
this
talk
is about
about
a
that.
4-hour flight. Is that correct?
What?
What is this? Nashville, Seattle is about 5 hours.
Yeah. It's a long flight.
So
So
wait,
you would have
so
missed a portion of the draft no matter what.
Not necessarily, because if I had Wi-Fi the whole time, I would have been able to.
Okay, that's fair. Normally planes do have available Wi-Fi.
so when did you get on the plane?
I'd have to look at
Because
the
the
exact
draft
time that I
ended at what,
boarded,
9:30? Hour and a half
but
we
it was
drafted.
before. It was a bit before the draft started, so I would have been on if I had Wi-Fi the whole time, because I was thinking about it because I knew when the draft was, right? Because obviously I wanted to be able to do the draft.
Right.
Um, wasn't able to do it because of the Wi-Fi issue.
So how did you ever manage to join it even for a second? Like, did the Wi-Fi work for a second, or
When I
what happened?
got on the plane, I was not able to connect. I tried a bunch of times. I was not able to connect.
But this is okay. This is my question, because you're saying that it's a 5-hour flight from Nashville to Seattle, right? Roughly.
Look, if you want me to pull up the exact timestamps of when everything happened, I can do that. Fact of the matter is,
Yeah,
I wasn't
I
able
just
to
want you to let
join
me ask my
at the
question. I
start.
keep getting interrupted
No, no,
halfway
no, no,
through.
no, 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 no,
Go
no,
ahead and
Sean.
ask your question.
Sean, we are 20 minutes in
See,
to this episode
it
at this point,
sounds
basically.
well.
Actually,
The
maybe
beginning was
later because
reserved
I'm
for
pretty
this.
sure that you joined like late because you were like 15 minutes late to begin with, right?
2 minutes late,
Look,
Well,
but
I think it might be
look,
a good
I
question.
auto
that you
I
drafted.
have a pretty good
I didn't
question.
do
Yeah, I
it
thought
on
I had a good
purpose.
question.
I
Go
didn't do
ahead.
it on purpose, but I got auto drafted. That's why I'm
So,
the auto draft shaft.
Jordan, do you want to hear my question?
Yeah, I would like to hear it.
Okay, so I was gonna ask that it was so I thought I'd heard earlier that it was a 5-hour flight from Nashville to Seattle, and right as the draft ended at 9:30, you said I just got off the plane, boys, which means you would have been on what at like 4:30, but that's when we were doing the spin at 5:15, and you were in that lobby. So
Look,
I'm confused
I
on the
can look at
timing.
the
That's
times.
good. That's a good question.
I will graph out the entire timeline for you if that's what you desire. Fact of the matter is, I was not able to join the draft at the start because I was on the plane. I'll get you a
Okay.
timeline.
Honestly, I see this. You know, he banked on the fact that the Wi-Fi was working. Clearly, he had Wi-Fi before it and not during it. I don't have any proof of him doing anything during that time, aside from, I guess, what they presented with him jumping into the chat, which is when the Wi-Fi sporadically worked. Question mark? Is that right?
Started working during the flight.
Okay. You know, I mean, all this seems plausible to me. Like he banked on a service that is usually available being available, and it wasn't.
Well,
And
so
you're paying the price for it.
at the end of the draft, we were just lied to about landing. Is that what it was?
So yeah, JB, answer my timestamp question then. Because shouldn't he have been in the
Look,
air at
I'll be
4:30?
able to answer the
Look, no,
timestamp question.
he said he was going to make like a little graph or something. Like we don't need to dive into it now. We can just look at what he comes up with, and it's going to be pretty easy to say yes, that's true, or no, that's bullshit. Like
They're
I mean,
grasping at straws.
I don't
everything he
think
said
so.
so far makes sense to me. And I wasn't there during the draft for the time thing. I was running the streets, but
Look,
I-
clearly this is because y'all have absolutely no reason to place me 10th in the power rankings. And
no, my
you
reason
just
is
hate.
I didn't
I
place you
told you my
10th.
reason prior to the.
I think that's a straw man. I'm not
Right,
sure.
yes.
I'm not sure what these actual fallacies are, but I think that's a straw man.
What, Cole's
No,
fallacy there? Yeah.
this is basically like the no true Scotsman. Like I'm less of a person because I auto drafted. I don't think that's true.
You are. You're subhuman
No, that's
filth.
definitely filth.
That,
But
no,
That's
it's not. It's
yeah.
not how that works.
it's okay.
If you were in Springfield, Ohio, you'd be snatching up cats, ducks, geese, and eating them.
Guilty.
Famously,
Guilty of auto drafting by choice.
There it is. I mean, there it is. So, yeah.
he saw it on TV. It must be true.
You chose to get on that plane, and as such, you know, I'm a real one. If they told me the Wi-Fi was out, I'd be like, I got a draft. I'm walking.
What the fuck does that mean?
Okay. Well, despite your attempt to moot point this conversation so that we wouldn't actually talk about it, I think the league deserves a deep dive into it. So I think we got that enough,
I'm
and
sure you do. Sean.
we'll
sure
move
you do.
on. We'll move on to the actual content of the show. So let's go ahead and bust it down to our last week's standings here and the results of the games, and let's get our guests to start us out with our winners of the week that they have in mind.
JB, you can start.
All right, man. Let me pull up the schedule real quick. I'm like,
Okay, I'll start then. My winner of the week, and I hate to say this, but I have to admit because I'll just say it. My winner of the week was Wardle for the specific reason that, and I need to just confirm because I'm actually genuinely curious as to like why he did this. Maybe it was, I mean, I guess it was smart in the long run, but he picked what Jordan Mason 140th, and then Jordan Mason turned out to be really fucking good, even though like McCaffrey's like out. Like I don't want to say he's looking stronger than ever, but like he is not as hurt as you would kind of hope one would be for losing one of their keepers.
Los,
And he popped off like crazy.
do you know what a handcuff is?
Isn't it just the backup?
Yes,
Yeah, like all he did was draft his handcuff, man.
that's what he did. Yeah.
Okay, but not every handcuff puts up the numbers, right? Like San
Yeah,
Fran has
that's
like
true.
a
That
bunch
is
of
true.
yeah, San Fran has a bunch of weapons, right? Like it's entirely possible that they could have leaned on. I mean, Ayuk dropped a bunch of those passes, sure, but like my point stands. Like they've got Debo, they've got Ayuk. I mean, McCaffrey's like a core part of it, but who knows if they were like he might not do as well as he did. He's what, like number one running back in the league or top three? Yeah,
I
he's
think
number
he's
three,
number
25
yeah.
points. That's crazy, right? Like handcuffs don't always pop off to basically like if I got 25 points out of McCaffrey, I'd be thrilled, right? Maybe I'd be like, oh, I wish he got, 30, but like, goddamn, those are good numbers. You can't be upset about that. And handcuffs, they're usually second string for a reason, right? So like the fact that they still did that well, I'm gonna call that a victory for Wardella.
Most definitely. I've had many failure handcuffs in the past, as many of us have. So yeah, I agree. Good
I don't
for
think I've ever had a bad one, but yeah, I get your point.
yeah. Jordan Mason is and he was a good pull. And I was wondering because I wasn't paying attention to the rosters, and I saw CMC was out, and I was like, oh, Wardle's screwed because he needs him tonight. And then all of a
Yeah,
sudden, I
right.
see Jordan
Oh,
Mason
I
in
was
his lineup.
praying he was screwed.
Yeah, it was not the case. Yeah,
Nope.
no, I agree. And his team also just showed out to be good, like just a good all around team. Stephon Diggs, if we're talking about Wardle right now, real quick, Stephon Diggs did not expect that. Had the exact opposite take in the preseason episode and was dead wrong. I mean, it's only been 1 week, but clearly Diggs is going to get targets in Houston. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I mean,
Still
it
don't
was a
understand why you
touchdown
thought he
heavy.
wouldn't.
It was touchdown dependent. Like he had 6 targets and 2 of them happened to be touchdowns. That won't happen every week, but um, still great points. Doesn't matter. You just got to win each week. So yeah, I think that's a good take. JB, how about you?
Yeah, man, I'm gonna give my winner of the week to somebody who lost their matchup. Actually, it's going to Living in Babylon, my boy J Dog.
Oh shit.
Dude, I'll tell you what. Like looking at your team, and even though you lost Cooper Cup, basically getting elevated to guaranteed WR1 every week with the loss of Puka for a few weeks. You got, I think, the number one kicker in fantasy football in Brandon Aubrey. That guy is freaking dynamite.
Ironic.
It is ironic, yeah. J.K. Dobbins, who until he gets like injured, if that's going to happen, will probably be a startable RB2, if not low ceiling RB1. You got some good strength on your team. Jalen Wright, Akane, Achan, I don't know how you say his name. Regardless, like that dude is one injury away from missing games, and Jalen Wright has got a lot of juice in those legs, so he could potentially be a nice little flex option for you moving forward. And it is unfortunate that you happen to play the only team in the league that would have beat you. But I think aside from kind of a weak ass quarterback at the helm, your team's looking solid.
Yeah, I mean that's just how fantasy seems to work, right? You get matched up against the one team that could beat you. Overall, yeah, I mean I was definitely surprised by the team's performance. I'm not going to get 28 points from the Bears defense, but I think with AJ Brown and Cooper Cup leading the squad, it could be good. Could be real nice.
I actually, yeah, your team played well. J.K. Dobbins also moving into the flex for you is going to be good. Yeah, I agree with JB here. Your team, just to speak on it now, your team popped off. I think I don't appreciate the Goff comment, but he only put up 17. So fantasy purposes, that was a bum week. And
I think Goff will get better.
I
I
agree.
hope.
The first game of the season, he didn't play all preseason, so you would think and hope. And they shut down Amon Ra, so you would hope that doesn't happen every week either. But I mean, he isn't. I mean, look,
And they shut down
you look back his other
a
seasons
porta
though.
potty.
I mean, he'll give you some 40s, but he'll also give you some in the teens too, and a lot of them are just in the 20s. So I mean, you're not too far off from what you're going to get from Goff relatively consistently if he stays the same, which with the team
Yeah, I
that
mean,
you
I'm not
have
expecting
is
Josh Allen
doable.
numbers.
Yeah, so yeah, I mean your team's good, man. Cooper Cup just verifies that I definitely missed out on
Dude,
drafting him because he's going to be a stud, and yeah, just in
I
general,
thought
good stuff.
I thought really hard about keeping Cooper as like one of my keepers.
That
Him
would have been
and
a
I was
good
so
one.
happy
Meta.
you didn't. I was so
But
happy you didn't.
I really like I kept going back and forth on that. I really think it was probably the right call, but I think I psyched myself up with his performance last year, and I don't really go too heavy into the whole age thing, but like if he had like an injury, that's when I start maybe taking age a little bit more into an account.
Yeah,
I genuinely don't know. I mean, we'll see over the long run. Not to say that like Mahomes is gonna be bad, but like I don't know if I don't know if I should have kept him over Cup, but we'll see.
Yeah, also Jalen Wright was one that it's maybe a symptom of me not doing much draft research until the day of, but a couple like was doing some diving into some waivers, like and some videos and stuff a little bit after the draft, and like Jalen Wright came up a lot, so I went, oh, let's go look for him on the waivers, and he was gone, and I was like, where's he at? And it was living in Babylon. So yeah, I mean, literally, you're already in a situation where the two starters are probably going to be out next week, so he's
yeah.
already
Now
going to be
don't worry
catapulted
about.
right up
My
to
name
that
is
spot.
Jeff Wilson.
Yeah, but he's also one of those where it's like I have a feeling that Jalen Wright, they're gonna get a share and he's gonna do more with it than Wilson's gonna do. So
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
yeah, but that's
Also, keep an eye on that boy Lad McConkey. That dude's nice.
Oh yeah, I like Lad definitely. Little Georgia boy.
he's a fine lad.
Yeah, Wardle sent me a text asking how the league allowed me to get such a white team, and I was looking. I was like, I guess I do have a
Not a dog
comparable
whistle.
to
Not
other
a dog whistle
to
at all.
other teams. I guess I do have a relatively white team.
Well,
Not
that's
a
always
dog
your goal
whistle
every
at all.
year. But how about you lead us into your dub of the week, Jordan?
My dub of the week. Oh man, and this I'm going to tell you this absolutely destroys me to do because we all know I had him ranked 10, but I got to give my dub of the week to Auto Draft Shaft.
Ain't
He was
that fucking
going
right, baby?
he was going up against a squad that I thought was gonna just destroy him, and that wasn't the case. He had, I mean, I'm not gonna sit here and say that Auto Draft Shaft's week was great, but someone like Ramondre, who I never expected to put up 24 points, did. Justin Jefferson, I thought he was gonna really struggle with Sam Darnold as his quarterback. Week one did pretty well. I mean, 14 points. You expect more from J. Jeff, but Losh's kicker popped off. Yeah, I mean, I was sitting here thinking Amon Percocet was gonna be a top team in the league and just demolish auto draft, and that didn't happen. Amon Percocet scored least amount of points in the league, and Loesch picks up a nice week one dub.
Yeah,
That's what it's about.
I'm on Percocet underwhelming for sure, and great performance by Ramondre.
That's what happens when you have to rely on a fucking Lions player.
Ain't that the truth?
Listen, yeah, a few of you all suffered from some Lions players this week. That's rough, but they won, so I
Turtling
could
down
care
low.
less what they do for you in fantasy.
I don't even
Ooh,
blame
so
Gibbs, man. I
personal.
I I blame
Ooh.
CD Lamb. That bum CD Lamb.
Yeah, we'll get to. So
You
let's
mean
see.
your running back one on the team? All they were doing was giving him fucking end arounds.
I like that. I mean, he scores touchdowns off those, but
Well, yes, he does, but I'm saying they need to stretch the field a little bit with that boy.
Dak's got to get loose, man.
All right.
True.
I'll
Well,
just stretch that field.
We need a few
And
more weeks of yeah. Here we
here we
go.
go.
here we go. That's annoying. I'm gonna go ahead and give my dub of the week if we're all trading out on different people. I'm gonna go ahead and give it to someone who we had ranked low in the preseason ranking since he wants to talk about how we're trying to avoid him. We had him ranked low, both of us did. Olave Garden, who is 1-0, got a
Yeah.
pretty dominant win over someone who I thought was going to have more of a dominant team. Not that, I mean, jury's still out, but it's not looking super hot on Tuck's team right now, if I'm being completely honest. But back to Ted. Look, Anthony Richardson. I always talk about how Ted, at least last year, he did a lot. Take the players who weren't necessarily like they were hyped up, but you don't know if it's there yet. And Anthony Richardson, he took a shot on him at quarterback, where it's like it's an unknown, and balled, absolutely balled. Reunited with Joe, and Joe gave him almost 30. Almost a little
Mixon?
dirty 30 there for him. Joe Mama, actually. So, but Rashad White, good as usual. He was doing fine. The receivers were underwhelming, but we know Jamar Chase's situation. How Olave put up 2 points. Did he get hurt or something? 47 points, but he put up 2 points.
No, they blew him out, dude. They were just like,
But like Olave wasn't involved in it at all, is what I'm saying, because he had 2
yeah,
points.
but I think what I didn't watch the game, mind you, but I think the game script really did not help him out there.
Okay, well, I'm sure, yeah, back half, especially if maybe they have to get to a point where they're sitting starters, whatever it may be. But Kittle, Kittle did fine. It was a bad week for tight ends across the board, except for one, and that one will come in a later segment. But Achan did his thing for him. Defense was fine. The Young Ho didn't really perform, but I'm sure he'll stick with the Young Ho and wait it out. So, um, yeah, just boosted Ted's standing up, in my opinion. His team looks good. They're starting to prove themselves, and that's what happens when you have a team that's like, well, will Joe be good? Will Richardson be good? Well, now they are, and now you're working your way back up the rankings. So good for Ted.
Yeah, I agree. He definitely had a good week.
Shout out to Ted. Also, I think Jamar Chase, like that might have been one of his worst weeks of the season. He just managed to survive.
Yeah, Jamar Chase will get playing time more, and he'll get back to shape. So, how about our losers of the week? Let's revert back to our first person here. So JB, go ahead. Who's your loser of the week?
My loser of the week has got to go to my boy Tuck. I
Yes.
really thought
Yeah.
that team was going to be different this year. I thought Tucker was going to break the curse. But man, dude, Drake London? You put your faith in Drake London?
That's bad.
Are you? Oh, Lord. Puka Nakua going on IR? Tough. Man, it's just like, uh, I wish the best for my boy Tucker, but just when it looked like the ship had turned around, it goes back into the same waters. Dan Laporta, what did he get, like 3 catches last week or something?
Yeah, it wasn't a great week for him. Yeah,
I
like
like
4
his team on
catches.
paper. Like CJ Stroud should be nice, right? CJ Stroud, he's good. Running back core, Josh Jacobs, Brees Hall, Aaron Jones. Like, they're all good running backs, It's just the
Yeah, they should be.
receiving core was already a little weak. I mean, he had a. I'm not a Drake London fan by any means. Like, he's got a lot of talent, but I don't think they've had stellar quarterback play there. And Kirk Cousins coming back off an ACL tear, I'm not sure he's going to be able to be the same quarterback he was. Couple that with the fact that Puka just got hurt. Now his wide receivers are looking, I don't know, they're looking dust dinged up, man.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Tucker, if you're listening, you need to start George Pickens, my boy. He will lead you to where you're trying to go.
I'll also say I do, because I was watching some of the Jags game. I do like Brian Thomas. I thought he was getting some good separation. He obviously had a
No, he
tud.
was. Yeah.
But yeah, overall that receiving core now with Puka hurt, that's going to be tough. I did have faith in Drake London because I thought for sure Kirk even coming off the Achilles, I thought he was going to be way better than who they have last year. Desmond Ritter. I can't even remember who they were playing last
Yeah,
year.
Ritter and maybe a little bit of Mariota.
Yeah, so I thought, oh, dude, that's a definite upgrade.
Right.
But apparently not. Apparently that O line sucks and can't pass protect. So we'll see. We'll see what happens.
No, he had a apparently they had Desmond Ritter, Taylor Heineke and Logan Woodside were their starting quarterbacks last year.
Yeah, that's brutal.
Loesch, you got anything to say on Tuck's team?
I'm gonna treat him like a dog this week, bro. He's getting fucked.
Oh, you're playing him. Okay. Oh yeah. Wow. Oh, we
You
have a little
freak.
roomy bowl coming up. We'll get to that. We'll get to that. I do think CJ is going to be okay. I think what hurts Josh too is Love being out, so that'll like stack the box time, and the Jets being just crap is rough. Although Brees Hall will still put up. The receivers you guys touched on, tight end you touched on. I think Aaron Jones, and I mean this for Jetta too. Although I think Jetta will still defy what's going to happen this season because he's Jetta to a degree, which is that they played the freaking Giants, man. The Giants are probably one of the two worst teams in football. Like, of course, the teams played well, but the Packers got rid of Aaron Jones for a reason. I'm not saying he can't be serviceable, but you're not getting 19 from him when they play reasonable teams, most likely. Not every week. So that's Minnesota players are going to start going down, even though there's bias in that statement. And the Browns defense was surprising, but they also played Dallas, so we'll see. But yeah, Tuck's definitely that is bad because it feels like his team should be a top one on paper. It's like we had them flipped, Tuck and Ted, and then the results were flipped. So it's just how it works
Yeah.
sometimes. Cole,
Yeah, I mean, Ted, I feel like Ted historically has always had a team that we kind of think is trash and winds up just being like, at least better than average.
at least better than average? Yeah, he seems to typically do that most years, at least in
It's like a
recent
little cockroach,
history.
man.
So
Can't kill him.
No,
Loesch, how
can't
about
kill
you?
him. He always ends up doing like at least like serviceably well. It feels.
No.
My loser of the week is the commissioner himself, and I have
Yep.
I have a
Yep.
two big reasons for that. One, it's actually three. Two of them are pretty similar. The first one is anytime you lose when you had a almost 40-point quarterback performance, that's pretty pathetic, man. Second thing is anytime that you also lose when you had enough points on the bench that you would have won, that also feels bad.
Yep.
But the third and critical point on this is the person that would have won him the game on the bench is on his fucking team, dude. How were you not playing Jameson Williams? He's on your fucking team.
Yeah, you know what? Those are I'm not going to argue on any of those points. Those are all valid points that I think makes me the loser of the week, to be honest. I agree with
I
you.
also
All right, then,
watched the
Sean.
Seahawks
Answer
game.
why didn't you start JMO? Because that's a good fucking point, Cole. I can't believe I'm saying this on record, but that is a great question, Cole.
No, it is a good question. It's very simple. I thought I had Zamir White as a keeper, so I wanted to give him a shot in the flex as the workhorse RB. Big mistake. Raiders offense sucks. And then when it came down to the other two, and JB, maybe you can appreciate this. Godwin was one of my keepers, and I knew I was starting that man because I know his year's about to be good. At least wide receiver 2 in fantasy good, if he's healthy. And then the other thing is I drafted DK as like my first wide receiver. So yeah, I'm gonna give him a shot week 1 because
Bro, this isn't
he's a
NCAA
dog.
25. Like, you don't have a commitment to these people.
I didn't say I had a commitment to him. I'm saying why I started him. So
What? Yeah, but your whole justification is, oh, I drafted him first. Like, he's gonna be upset if I don't play him. What the fuck?
okay, well now you're just putting words in my mouth because I didn't talk about any player's emotion. I'm just saying Zamir White. I kept him, so I wanted to give him a shot in the lineup as an RB. What could be an RB one?
Uh,
Give him a shot.
sunken cost fallacy. I see.
Give him a shot, mean. Bro, he
What
doesn't
I
know
don't.
that. Look, my point
I
is, just because you drafted him as a keeper, I don't know. I'm just saying. Also, I understand the point about DK at least. I think DK is a good player, but I watched that Seahawks game. That was bad. That was really bad. Two safeties for the Seahawks against fucking Denver. That game sucked. You couldn't have known that when we started, obviously, but that was a really rough game to watch.
no, but yeah, if I draft DK with one of my first 3 picks, like I'm gonna start DK. I don't see how this doesn't make sense. Like it's not about what it's if I keep a player and if I start a player, like or if I draft a player early, I'm in week 1, I'm gonna start that player. Like I don't know how that doesn't make sense. That was my whole argument. Like I drafted DK with one of my first 3 picks, and Zamir White was a keeper. So
Yeah,
why would I?
you're
Why
not
would I
gonna
not?
bench your third
Why would
round
I
pick.
not? Why would I bench him? Does this not make sense to you?
You draft him in the third round expecting high production.
Right.
No,
So in
I
week
get
1, does
that,
that not
but
make
I
sense?
think the flex keeper argument is a little bit weaker.
I mean, I kept him. Kept him for a reason.
All
If I
right,
didn't think
well,
he'd be valuable,
all
I
right,
would have just let him go to the waivers.
all right. I'm just saying,
No, I mean I was wrong.
homie was not.
I wasn't saying I wasn't wrong in the whole process, but
It's
it was
also
just
a
more.
case of, I mean, this is really JMO's like breakout game, if you want to call it a breakout game. Last year, he didn't really produce. So I personally would not have started. If he was a Buffalo Bill on my bench, I wouldn't have started him. Just because you don't know.
Right. I mean that was
Now
kind of
that
the case. I
now that you
expected a
know,
big year from
things
JMO, but
things change.
you don't exactly. Well, he's in my starting lineup right now, so I think it's a pretty simple. Now I understand it. Well, I mean, it was a blunder. It cost me the week, but yeah, it's pretty straightforward. But yeah, my team definitely stunk it up. But I definitely could have had. I mean, yeah, to you guys' point, I could have had easily around like what 30. I could have been in like in the 130s almost. Somewhere in the
Yeah, it would have been
130s maybe.
pretty.
So I mean, if I just made a couple swaps, my team doesn't look as bad anymore. Even with some weeks from like Travis. And Travis wouldn't have even been as bad if he didn't fumble on the 1 yard line. I don't know if any of you were watching the Jaguars
Yeah,
Dolphins
I saw
game.
He
that.
didn't. He did not really fumble it. That ball was perfectly
Oh,
punched
yes,
out.
That
it
was a
was.
sick.
Yeah,
That
I
was a
mean,
great
it was
defensive play.
beautiful. But yeah, I mean, he by
Like on
definition
the paper,
fumbled.
it was fumbled, but it wasn't some like dumb. I wasn't taking care of the ball fumble. You know.
No, not at all. But it was just, I mean, it still happened on the one, and he fumbled it. So that, I mean, that's a big turnaround. So you change a couple things. My team doesn't look as bad, but right now I mean, it's bad. Evan Ingram is a botch at one point. So I mean, my defense and my special teams also let me down because I lost by 11, and some people had weeks where like they had a lot of people actually had their defense give them at least between like 15 to 30, I think. So their
When are you
defense
gonna
and
let the
kicker.
Muth loose?
I'm not. Actually, I might this week, but I want to give Evan Ingram. Sorry to talk about his emotional involvement because we just had a phone call, but I wanted to give him a shot at tight end one more time, and see how it could go. But
I'll say you got to watch out. The ETN's looking over his shoulder. He's got Bigsby breathing down his neck,
I know getting
wanting that
carries. I know. I
wanting that
know.
starter spot.
I know. And listen, whether I'm playoffs, not playoffs, whether I'm playing Loesch again in the losers game, like whatever the result of my season is, until and I don't wish this, but until something happens, like unless something happens, Saquon's my biggest blunder of the draft, or taking ETN and Pacheco before Saquon.
Yeah,
Um,
that was pretty bad.
I've told other people about that aren't in our league, and they were like, "What is your problem?" And I was like, "Yeah, I don't know. I
Valid
don't know."
question.
So that
Yeah, I
was
don't know what you were
and
thinking.
Jordan did the same thing, but his strategy was actually there because he was trying to go wide receiver. So
Yeah, I wasn't gonna
I
take
just
AJ Brown and then Saquon.
I just blundered. So I mean, hopefully they show up. Hopefully the season goes on and Pacheco and ETN show up. But definitely, I ranked myself 9, and you were not 10, Loesch. Matt was. So
Thank you.
yeah, or
Jesus.
yeah. So there.
You
I
were
mean, there
10
you
for
go.
me.
Yeah, I know.
But anyway,
I'll
I
go
think I
ahead
put
and
your
crazy.
ass to ninth. Yeah, I think you were ninth. Loesch, auto drafted piece of shit scum.
Better
and
than 10th.
just to
and
save
that's
save time, I'm my own loser of the week too, and we can go over to Jordan because I want to spend some time on my team there. So Jordan, who's your L of the week?
yeah. I mean, I was gonna go quick and just name Tuck as well as my L of the week because he loses not only the game, loses probably some confidence in his squad, and loses Puka Nakuka. So that hurts.
Yeah,
And worst of all, you lost our respect.
I also want to give an honorable mention, some love, some L's to Jay Bizzle. I mean, his squad put up points and just barely got fucking beat. It also hurts when it gets beat by a team that has a quarterback that scored than 10. And Jordan Love is hurt, which sucks. But
Appreciate
oh
that.
yeah, that sucks.
Mike
No, we
Ball,
good though. We good.
yeah. I mean, hey, I'll eat crow on Mike Evans. He's a fucking dog.
He
Not that
is.
I didn't think he was a dog, but I I kind of looked down the bridge of my nose at that pick, but shout out Mike.
No, I mean Mike Evans. And I I asked myself the same question when it came to my pick. It was Mike Evans or Garrett Wilson. I was like, do I want like something I know is not going to be the best thing ever, but it's still pretty good, or do I want to go try a new restaurant?
That's what you
Yep.
get for
I went
trusting your team.
I went back to old reliable. I came back to the Mike Evans well, and it's still pouring, baby.
Man, that's what you get for
Dude,
trusting your team, bro.
thank goodness you went Mike over Garrett Wilson. At least this week, but I think for the future as well.
Yeah, I mean, really, like this was a terrible week for CD Lamb. Also, yeah,
Yeah,
I can take this one on the chin. This is like I think aside from his quarterback, his team really overperformed, and my team kind of I think was at an average performance.
I would agree.
Yeah,
You seem to always catch that Reek nade.
you do.
Dude, I don't know what happened
straight to the
between
foss.
me and Tyreek Hill, but
Hey,
he
hey,
hates
hey!
me, bro.
Leave your emotions with players out of it, okay? They don't know you. They don't know you.
Oh my god, bro.
Oh, that
I'm starting to think Tyreek Hill does know
hit
me.
me.
I'm not sure what happened, but
He might. He might.
It's
He's
He
actually
like-
might have
possible he might
just
hate you.
mistaken you for one of those police officers prior to the
dude,
game.
he was like, I'm playing against JB this week in fantasy. Time for a career long touchdown. I'm like, fuck.
Yeah, after getting arrested too. Quick take on the body footage from the cop. Overly
Hey,
aggressive
Cab.
police officer? I think so.
Yep.
I think so.
Every
I
time.
didn't watch it. I didn't watch it at all. I'll be honest.
I think he was. No, I mean Reek was being a dick with the whole rolling the window up, no doubt. But he was getting out of the car. No reason to just go
Very,
in there.
very
and
little
drag him on.
amounts of being a dick are appropriately answered with excessive force. That's all I'm gonna say on the matter.
All right, Jordan, did you watch all that, or did you not catch it like JB?
I'll keep my comments to myself.
Okay. All right. So let's move into our matchups of the week. Looking forward to week 2. Cole, go ahead and pick who you're most interested to watch.
I'm pretty interested, obviously in my match against Tuck. I think there's some personal stakes there. I know it's a little bit of a cop out, but I think that we talked a lot about how we expected some things out of Tucker's team that maybe we didn't see, and then there's obviously any of the comments about me being auto drafted. And I feel good about my team, but I also feel like I had some outliers. The New England Stevenson. I can't remember the last time I would have genuinely expected a running back out of New England, the famously RB by committee, to score that many points. So not positive that's a fluke or not. I think that the worst section of my team was like the running back core. So if I can win this week as well, I'll start to actually feel a lot better instead of feeling like I need to make some more moves, as we saw with one of the trades that I did with JB. And also, I'm interested in JB's game just because there were some trades that didn't happen that I'm going to be curious to see if either of us who would have regretted it if they did, because that's always like a like a missed connection on a trade, and then
Hey,
you're curious about like the next week.
this is a safe space to reveal your trade tee. So if you want to tell us like what the trade
No, no,
was,
no, no.
I'm just
No, no,
just
I'm good.
saying. You're both here, so I mean it's not like
I'm
it's
good. I'm
okay.
good.
I
I know that
we
you
really
already have the fucking back door as the commissioner, and you can just see every trade fucking request.
I
I already
can,
no.
but
I
know
that
mean
would be
no
we
cool.
shot.
we also floated like over 5 different ideas before we just backed it up.
Mm.
Like we definitely were cooking something up. Also, I didn't know that you were not completely sold on Ramondre. Like if I knew that he was on the table, we might have been able to work something a little differently out. But
Hey, my
did you watch the
I,
game?
my bakery is still open, bro.
Yeah. Did you happen to watch the Patriots game?
No, I just watched the Seahawks.
No, they genuinely looked like they are going to use him as a featured back. Like it wasn't, they just happened to be running all over him. They were hammering that D line, just kept feeding him. And he looked really good too. So
All the better for me.
All right.
Yeah,
Well,
interesting too. If you look at the current projections, y'all are expected to tie, and with
Well, that's
decimals
only
apart,
because
that's
of the
actually
fucking.
crazy.
It's only because of the trade, thankfully.
oh yeah, there you
I
go.
bought.
I do have a question. When you guys, so at Sean's batch party, y'all stayed in that gym together on the floor.
Me and Tuck.
Um, yeah, you and T Nug. Did you run back the J off while he was asleep, just for old time's sake?
Not at liberty to say.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Well, JB, who's your matchup of the week?
Yeah, so my matchup of the week is going to be Captain Dr. Vava versus Jordan. I think there's some beef that has to be settled here,
There is.
It's
So
sexual.
yeah, whatever happened between y'all in the little chat, I wasn't privy to. Like, I don't know if that
Oh
message got
yeah,
deleted before I had a
that's
chance to
true.
read it, but there might be some reparations coming here.
Oh shoot, this is the F game.
there, i- there may be Vaughn may be taking some anger out on me for using, let's say, choice language in front of his family.
Do you regret it?
Wait,
Um,
I
I
don't know this story either. What happened?
I don't
This
regret it.
probably should best be explained off a public call.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I just
Yeah,
wanted to vaguely ask him if he
I
regrets
don't
it.
I don't regret using the word. I regret that I put Va in that situation. If that makes
Yeah,
sense.
let it be known for anybody who happens to be listening that isn't one of our friend group for some reason. Like, it's not a terrible thing to say, but contextually
I
it was
don't know if
bad.
you get to make that decision, but fair enough.
How about someone just say it,
I mean, I don't really
No.
and
care.
then we can know?
I said in the chat for Va's bachelor party in Vegas, I called Sean a faggot, and then
Oh, oh.
Oh
Va
my god.
texted in a separate chat. He's like, "Oh, by the way, my family's in there. Please don't use that word." I was like, "Oh, I'm sorry, Va.
Oh my god, that's terrible.
I don't think it's that bad, honestly. I
It,
apologize to Va
yeah,
for putting him in that situation, but
not
yeah, I mean,
necessarily up
I
to
thought
you.
this was 2024. I thought we were.
Yeah, that's what makes it not okay.
I
Oh, here we go.
I think this just continues the beef of the game. I think when Va hears this, he's just gonna want Monty to just pound it down your personal throat even more. So,
Dude, I'll tell
um,
you, I do. As much as I want the Lions to throw, watching them just fucking pound the rock is
it's fun football.
incredible.
It's fun
Oh,
football.
it's great.
Yeah,
Bully ball. It's awesome.
yeah, I agree. All right, well, Jordan, how about your matchup of the week? Who you got?
My matchup of the week is Lights Camara Action versus DUI 2 Run the Streets.
Nice.
I think there's. I've always thought there's like some type of animosity from JB towards Wardle. Maybe it's because of just countless bounce passes that should have been chest passes in pickup games. I don't know what it is, but I can. The projected totals are close. I'm rooting for JB because Wardle took me down last week in a game that he shouldn't have. He just had a fucking backup. That fucking. Anyways, yeah, I'm looking forward to this matchup. These guys, former roomies. Um, I former bathroom mates in Josie. Some good times there.
Over in the quarters.
I heard there was a
they
there was a
they
turd
were in the
left in that
slave
shower
quarters.
at one point.
There was I can't even imagine what was left in that shower, especially once the grimiest of them all, the ginger got in there. But yeah, that's gonna be my matchup of the week. I'm excited to see how JB deals with the injury to Jordan Love. It looks right now you got Justin Fields, which solid, especially with his ability to create on with his legs. Um, yeah, I'm looking forward to this one.
Yeah, we're working on some stuff.
Yeah, this is going to be a good matchup. I agree, and I think that my matchup of the week probably is gonna it's gonna have to be. I'm gonna go with I'm on Percocet and follow Spike. I'm very interested to see how this one goes because of how well follow Spike did and how bad Amon did. But I mean, this is a really week one is week one. Things happen. We make our rankings and stuff like that. But obviously, like a lot changes as the season goes on. But like when you start to have repeats of things, it becomes, a trend. And if he has another bad game, things might just continue to go downhill from Matt. So I'm interested to see if his team, if week 2 can be one where he picks up and maybe gets a score that we all thought should be coming. And then follow Spike. You just got to wonder, is you assume Barkley's going to replicate and Hill's going to replicate, but you wonder for the rest of the team, Mark Andrews, like, is this going to be a bounce back week? What about Joe Burrow, who had 9 points? So you just wonder. It's two teams where it's just you wonder. So I'm interested to see them play each other right now. Obviously, I would pick follow Spike, but we'll see how it plays out. So I'm interested to see how that one goes. And I think that
I
wraps
like
up.
that. I gotta see if follow spike is the real deal or if I just caught the nade.
Yeah, I mean it's going to be interesting with these two teams. So I think that wraps up our segment. So that's going to shift us finally over to our offers report segment and then our budget summary. Unless Jordan, am I
Dude,
forgetting
there's
anything,
no
or
way
are we
that
there?
$57 on a tight end is the right
Oh,
call.
we'll get there. We'll get there. So let's discuss a couple of the pickups here. Oh, it looks like fantasy's doing this thing. I'll cover. I'll lead us up to. Okay, so fantasy is not showing any transaction before this Wednesday. So there we go. All right. So just so we're all aware, we had a couple transactions in September. Oh, that's why. In September on Friday, September 6th, we had just a couple ads. We had Josh Palmer added by Lights Camara Action Jackson for $2. Living in Babylon added Bears defense for $1. That's a great move, actually. There you go. So I added Jaleel McLaughlin, and then Tuck added the Vikings defense. And so that leads us into today, where the waivers dropped this morning, and there was a big battle for Isaiah Likely. So we'll
Dude,
start
Ted
with that
almost
one to
won.
break that down. So I'll list all the
Ted
bids.
almost won.
Dude, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Pause. I'm sorry. That is the most disrespectful bid I've ever seen. This
That
guy,
was so
no,
funny.
no, first
$1.
game of the season, dude goes off. He's like, you know what? I bet nobody else will try to bid on this guy. I may as well
Puts a
bid $1.
dollar on it.
Dude, are you kidding me? Like, that's so disrespectful.
70% of the league bid on Isaiah Likely. Jordan won out at 57. I was second with 51.
Unbelievable.
Tuck was 45. JB with 23. Va with 8. Amon with 7. And then Ted with his $1 bid. So JB, you kind of shared your reaction already. Do you want to run us through real quick your 23 mindset on this one? Because this is going to be the one
Yeah.
we talk
So
about the most.
there's a on the r/fantasy football, they crowdsource like, what are you going to bid on this guy? And 22 was the average, so I bid one over the average.
Oh, interesting.
That's all.
Okay.
Okay. I wonder how that would have worked for Jerome Ford last year for any one of us other than you.
I think I am pretty happy with the tight end I wound up with though. So Loesch was able to kind of sweeten the sting on that one a little bit.
Okay,
That's what I do.
nice. Yes,
I'm a
that's true.
businessman.
All right, Loach, you
I make
clearly have
business
strong
moves.
opinions. You didn't bid, but let's hear your reaction to the bids.
Well, 'cause he's got Kelsey.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm not saying it necessarily as a
so
surprise, but just
I didn't bid one because honestly he totally flew under my radar. I didn't even know that there was a fucking tight end out there who scored that many points. I don't know why, because usually I'm looking on. Well, I don't usually look for tight end in that regard. It's usually like QB, RB, wide receiver. I'll just be honest. I don't really follow that, and there's less reason for me to because I'll just stream a tight end on the week that I'm not playing Kelsey. But like this isn't, and something that I thought was kind of interesting is obviously like, haha, Ted only bid one, but didn't Ted bid the fucking house last year to get
HN.
Achiani or
Yeah.
whatever his name is?
Yep.
Like, I feel like this happens a decent amount. Like, I feel like a lot of us don't really. I don't know. I feel like every season so far there's been one, usually at like the beginning, where somebody bets like $90. And it's like, okay, so I guess you're just not gonna really do much with the waiver for the rest of the season. And I guess I get it. But just even the fact that we have people who end the seasons with above $90, right? Like I feel like there's just a lot of disparity in how much each of us like go through the waiver, especially the bidding. Because it's not
Yeah.
like we see a real bidding war every week, right? Which I always thought was interesting. I don't know. I think $57 for a tight end is utterly ridiculous, and there's no way that he's going to produce at that level.
If George
If
Kittle
he
or Travis
does,
Kelsey
bless
hit the
up.
waiver wire, what would you bid on them?
If what?
If George Kittle or Travis Kelsey or Mark Andrews, like any of those guys, or Laporta, if one of them hit the waiver, what would they be worth to you?
So I think it's interesting that you say that because we have a very similar example. I don't need Baker Mayfield, right? But I
Correct.
bid on him, and
I'm,
I bid a
I,
decent amount, and I picked him up, and I picked him up so I could trade him.
okay, let me rephrase your thinking in the context of I need a tight end.
Okay, but I don't even know if a tight end is a strong argument for that because, like, I get it. If you get a really good tight end, speaking as somebody who has Kelsey, they're like pretty fire and forget. But like, is I forget. We
It's
can't
also
trade.
a
God, I
position
wish
where
we
it's
could
like
trade.
there's a
No, I know,
massive.
and that's what I was gonna say. Like, I get it. A good tight end who puts up like 10 or whatever is worth a lot, and theoretically, there's not that many bidding wars every week because maybe somebody who's not on a team isn't popping off every week because you get away from it pretty early in the season. It almost kind of feels bad to me that it's not as interactive as maybe as I'd like it to be.
In
Like, I'd
terms
be
of
more
bidding
interested if
wars.
there were like more bidding wars every season and you really actually had to like kind of manage your money.
Well, I think that the thing that doesn't happen because we got 10 guys and our waivers are
Yeah,
usually
it's probably
picked pretty
because yeah,
clean.
we have too many people in the league.
Oh, wait, are you calling for a removal of members to make the
Not what
league
I
more
said.
interesting? Okay.
Too many people in the league to be conducive to what it is that I'm talking about.
Gotcha. Yeah. Yeah, I mean
So
that's I put 51. I didn't think anyone would put higher. Jordan was trying to gaslight me all week talking about his $89 bid. Um but yeah,
I
I
did
think
did at one point have an $80 bid in
I
up
did.
until Tuesday night.
Well,
it's
yeah, I mean,
crazy.
the way I played it is I thought that 51 was appropriate because I looked at waiver acquisitions from past, from the past and thought of like the main people who had been grabbed in past years, like especially last year, like Puka and A Chan. And like normally the big guys, because our league has so many people, like the big guys are taken like in the first like 2 or 3 weeks because that's when they all start to pop off, and the rest of the year is just kind of duking it out for like that player that ends up being dropped a few weeks later, maybe like
Who you need to stream.
a situational player, yeah, streaming and like defenses and like the rare player that maybe helps you at the end of the season, but an injury, a handcuff that's sitting there off an injury, stuff like that. But like the guys that are like, oh hey, like this might be a starter for like most of the rest of the year, they're grabbed pretty early. So I thought 51's pretty appropriate to keep me competitive, but I also was planning. I missed out on a lot if we want to go through the rest of these, but I was only if I got everyone I wanted, I would have been down to like $15. But with that likely, I was like, I could get all these acquisitions, and that's I can duke it out. 51 didn't seem too crazy, but I never really considered more than about 55. So I guess I was always going to lose that. But yeah, it was just the tight end is a valuable position. So Tuck had 45.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
people
I
pay a lot
ultimately
for a
have
good tight end.
I ultimately got faith in um, Kincaid, but the reason I bid so much is because say
Don't you
likely
have
does
Andrews?
say me.
Yeah.
No, I have Dalton
Brennan
Kincaid.
I
has
think
Andrews.
Brennan has
Which is
Andrews.
another point with likely is he popped off, but is it going to be like this week, next week, or is it going to be he dies
And it
off
could
after
be.
this? Is it going to who
And I'm
knows?
also probably not going to start him. But the way I thought, if likely ends up being Baltimore's number one, then I just added a tight end that I get for a 16th round pick next year. That is, to me, worth $57 if he's a top 5 tight end that I can get for a 16th round pick.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. Thinking about next year. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and again, I agree. Just the fact that there aren't really many opportunities after the first couple games for like super standout people. I guess we'll see maybe if that changes.
Yeah, barring
Um,
injuries and stuff.
yeah.
Well, here's another one I didn't expect to actually go off, and I looked into him too, and I just wasn't interested because I thought it was more garbage time production. But Alan Lazard had a bidding war on him, where
I
four
almost
four
bid on
people in
him.
the league, and I almost did too, even a little bit. But Tuck ended up getting him at 30. JB was in on it at 11. Va was in on it at 11, and then Wardle put a $0 bid in. So
What happens with
JB
the tiebreaker again?
waiver
It
order.
goes to an waiver order.
Oh, that's right. That's
Yeah,
what
what
it
we
is.
used before Fab. It's still there. It's just for tiebreakers. So, JB, you were involved in this bid. What made you think 11, and did you expect to be beat out by Tuck so bad?
Did you do the same thing
Uh,
for every bid, JP?
no, Lazard I actually thought was maybe worth $10, so I put 11. Uh, I don't know, man. Like Alan Lazard, Aaron Rodgers has some weird Alan Lazard love story going on. He like got him a spot on the Jets. He still looks to him, even though Garrett Wilson is definitely the better receiver in the team. My wide receiver depth got crushed in 1 week. So yeah, I
Yeah, I
don't
mean,
know.
I
I was going to take a flyer on him.
I think the love thing has the love of Alan Lazard has a lot to do with Lazard just knowing where Aaron wants him to be after playing with him for so long, and Aaron knowing that Lazard's going to be in the spot that he expects him to be.
Right.
Yeah.
So he can trust him to, okay, if I throw to Lazard, he's going to be in this spot exactly. Whereas it seems like he's still working that out with Wilson.
I
And I feel
also
like if
just
they would have had all last year together, that would have been Wilson this year. But this is really their first year playing together.
I also have just a little bit of like what's the word I'm looking for? Uh, what is it when like you have a feeling for something because it's like something that you used to do or something like that?
Nostalgia.
Yeah, I have a little nostalgia for him because my first time playing fantasy football with my family in like a family league, my sister drafted Alan Lazard like round 4 for absolutely no reason. And he wound up being a pretty good receiver. So like Alan Lazard has a little place in my heart because he showed out in an odd way for that family league.
For the McClendon family.
You've seen his
It's funny how
stash.
that works.
You've seen his stash in the picture.
Yeah, I think that's new. I'm not
Definitely
positive,
new.
but
All right. Well, hey, we have another. We had a couple bidding wars. So Loesch getting what he wants in the league week 1. And where this is
Yeah,
one that
no
Loesch won.
dub.
We have Baker Mayfield. So Baker Mayfield, 3 out of the 4 of us in here put in on him. So Loesch put 25. Follow Spike put in a bid for $15,
Wow.
and it actually was more than like $2. JB put in 11. I put in 10, and so the 4 of us bid. And since I was bottom, I'll just say real quick that I thought 10 was going to be more than enough, and I was dead wrong. So
I was
JB,
worried that 25 wasn't going to be enough.
interesting. Well, you already kind of gave your reasoning for why you added him, right, as a trade piece.
Yeah, I mean, I feel confident in Mahomes. I mean, he's Mahomes, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But like, I feel like there's enough questions on the rest of my draft. Like, there are a couple places that I want to like shore up, and I feel like having a reasonably good quarterback and genuinely not horrible like bench depth, even if the players themselves aren't like wonderful. Like, it's not like I'm trying to trade you like a dog shit player like off my bench.
Hmm.
I might be able to like make a deal work in the future with him if he keeps showing out, and if he doesn't, I've made a mistake, but he'll also probably be serviceable enough to use when Mahomes is out.
Yeah, agreed. And $25 isn't too much of an overspend for that mindset of what your goal was with him too, even if he doesn't work
Well,
out. I mean, that's still
with
pretty.
some of the quarterback performances that I saw this past week, I was genuinely surprised that like more people didn't go for him.
Yeah, I mean, and listen, Baker. I don't know if you guys watched. I kind of asked this earlier, but Baker. Oh, if the Tampa game was in the afternoon, I think he looked good.
Yeah,
He looked good.
425.
Yeah, like Baker did not. I mean, he like Mike Evans was making some good catches, but like Baker was dropping them in there. So the last year was his first year with them, I think, or was it? Did he have 2 years with them? The past two, JB.
That's
The
a question I
JB
should know the
question.
answer to, but I don't know the answer to that.
Okay, because like Jordan was saying, rapport with receivers. If this is his second year with them, um, hey, it might just be working out. So, yeah, Baker ad, there you go. And JB, you bummed to not get Baker?
Uh, I don't want to say I'm bummed. I would have liked to have him like the Baker Evans, Baker Mayfield, Mike Evans stack would have been pretty sexy. But
Apparently, it could still happen.
like if you watch that game, Baker Mayfield pulled some magic out of a hat. He escaped a lot of should have been sacks, I think. So I didn't want to like spend a bag on a quarterback that might be getting sacked in the future on those types of plays.
And okay, and so
I'm not completely sold out on my quarterbacks. Like I think Dak Prescott is a great fantasy quarterback. Like he slings the ball. He's got CD Lamb. He's got Ferguson, Brandon Cooks. Like he has plenty of weapons on that team. So I wasn't like desperate for a quarterback. It's not like I was stuck with, 6 point Joe Burrow or something, right?
yeah,
Like, yeah, Jordan Love got hurt, so my depth is injured, but picked up Justin Fields. He can be boom or bust. So I'm putting a little bit of faith in him, but clearly I would have liked to have him. But
for sure. For sure. Yeah, and I had the overspend of the week next on this list because I added Chris Boswell for $10, and I figured he would be more sought after. I figured 10 would be my overspend for people that were spending maybe 3 or 4 on him, but no one bid on him, so I overspent. So I think that's overspend of the
kickers
week.
aren't real, man. I like
Dude, they're
the
so
kicking.
good. They're so good.
The kicking variance is too high.
I just try to aim for a team that can move the ball enough but has a decent kicker. So I figured the Steelers, Boswell. I mean, he's the number one kicker in the league, tied with Jake Moody. So I know that's week 1, but the Steelers are also a team that I feel like could be moving the ball and kicking some field goals because their defense is also, I think, decent enough to hold teams low enough to where field goals still matter. So,
How long before this league realizes what it truly needs?
More kickers.
A
2
kicker
kicker flex
friendly.
slots.
I wanted 2
No,
kickers.
dude, kickers are honestly a ridiculous position at this point. If you get 150-yard field goal a quarter, 20 points from a kicker for nothing. It's just like insane.
Okay, you can basically
JB,
say the
thank
same
you.
thing about tight ends.
How?
Mhm.
Like the variance in whether or not, bro, as the person who bid $1 billion on a tight end purely because there's like no depth at that position, my point stands. You're either running one that gets you 3 points a game or 15. It's the same argument.
No, but you know what you're getting. Like a kicker, you have no clue they're going to give you that game, truthfully.
Yeah, exactly.
That
A
is true.
tight end,
That
you
is
can
true.
you can look at and be like, oh, this tight end got X amount of targets. Whereas with a kicker, they may kick 5 kicks a game, but whether they make it or not, it just depends on what's in their head.
Yeah,
The
kickers are
number like
nuts.
the number one kicker this week might get 3 points next week.
It's true. It's true, and it might happen to me. It probably will. So
Like
I
I don't
guess
think
I guess you
I
could say
don't
that
think
for any player, but it's
I just don't
I'm
think in the
just
spirit of our teams that the kicker should be scoring like the second highest points on your team.
I don't either. I've never felt that way, but I'm glad my kicker did.
yeah, exactly. Getting help. It's always the guys arguing against the kickers that are getting the best kickers. So
All I'm saying.
hopefully that trend
I've
changes.
never liked them. Never liked kickers.
I've always liked kickers.
I like
They
kickers.
stink and I
They
hate them.
belong, man. They round out the team.
They're so good.
They're snatching them up and eating them.
But third leg Greg is on waivers, so he got me a fat 1 point yesterday or however many days ago, and so y'all can
Yeah, no
fight
leg
over
rules
him.
forever. Well, the craziest part is after he put up that almost donut, he's going to drop like 34 and look like the best kicker ever.
Oh yeah, of course. Because that's how it goes. That's kickers. unless you're Jordan. So, yeah, there was one more bidding war. Chargers defense, 4 teams bid on them. Actually, 5. I won
I
that
saw
one. That is
that.
one that I got. I dropped to 10.
They put
Um,
points, 16 points. Wow.
yeah, I dropped to 10. Their schedule looks good early. Loesch dropped 3. Oh, actually, 3 out of the 4 of us again were in on this. JB dropped $2. Amon Percocet dropped $2, and Tuck dropped 0. And yeah, I mean, look, I won it, and the reason I bid 10 was because the Jets defense looked sorry. They don't have the bodies in the middle anymore that they did last season. So maybe my take on them supposedly being better was also wrong. But I do know I like a Jim Harbaugh defense. So, you
It's a
know,
lot of wrong takes, Sean.
oh,
You're not
trust me, that's
starting out
why
so
I'm 0 and
hot.
1. That's why my team put up under 100 points. So I gotta try to be better. Um, or maybe see Mr. Auto Draft in the last game again. We'll see. That would be our third matchup.
Look,
So
all I'm saying is I've been playing a lot of Dynasty and NCAA 25.
Nice.
I'm
nice, nice,
basically a head coach at this point. I'm gonna do very well this season.
interesting.
Very
Okay,
interesting.
well, to
Great
finish,
game.
So how many cheerleaders have you slept with in that game?
Technically, it's not an option. I did check.
okay, well,
Definitely should be.
Justin Fields has an ad for $5. EC Breesy got Alec Pierce from the Colts for $5. I'm on Percocet, and I fought for Bucky Irving, but Amon beat me with a $4 bid when I had a $2 bid, and then Jake Moody, the kicker. Ted got for a $1 bid when Tuck had a $0 bid, and then
JB, was that Bucky Irving? Was that garbage time runs, or was he pretty involved throughout?
I watched that game. He was involved.
No, he was involved. He's kind of like they were mixing them in. I'd say it was like a 70-30 split type deal.
Okay.
Yeah, so
You
he's
know how it
there.
used to be with like Zeke and you know how it was with like Zeke and Pollard?
Yeah.
I would
Similar
almost
to that.
liken it close to that. I wouldn't say exactly, but like clearly
Okay.
there's a featured back, but the other guy is not like some jag. He's pretty good.
Yeah. Okay.
I could see it going 50-50, honestly.
Yeah, and Bucky looked like the better pure runner too with his carries compared to well, obviously, but uh, White's a stud and obviously was leading with the pass catching, and
If I'm not mistaken, Bucky is quite a bit heavier than him.
I think so.
He's kind of like that David Montgomery type. Rashad White is more of like a skill back, I think. Like
I
you see Rashad White get
yeah
that ball in space, he is making some magic happen.
yeah I agree. Then and to finish this off, you got the Jaguars defense, JB, for $1 and missed out on the Commanders. So that busy
I
waiver
didn't.
the first week, as
Yeah,
per
I
usual.
try to tier some good defensive options because I'm not starting the Lions against the Bucks. I just can't do it.
No, yeah, I don't blame you. So Jordan, that brings us to our free agent budget summary. So take it away.
Yes. So this year, the free agent budget summary is brought to you by Dr. Thunder. Dr. Thunder, much like this segment, is thunderously refreshing soda. Grab yourself the #1 sports soda on the market and feel the thunder. Okay, so we'll start with people who are very wealthy and need to distribute their money to the rest of us. That would be Follow Spike and Captain Dr. Vava. They both are still sitting at $100. Olave Garden, he's got $99, and he as well should be taxed heavily for having that much money. Um,
55%.
Lights Camara Action, he's sitting at $98, and I just don't like how smug he is sitting there with money. So we move on down. We got Amon Percocet. This guy, I'm surprised he hasn't spent all his money on drugs. He's got $96 left. DUI 2 Run the Streets. That boy Jay Bizzle sitting at $94. He comes in at sixth place. Biting kneecaps. He's got $80. Typically, this guy likes to spend his cash, so I'm surprised after week 1 he's still got money.
I tried.
Auto Draft Shaft sitting at $75. Easy Breezy Cover Girl Tuck Nugent $65. And the brokest of them all is me living in Babylon at $42.
Nice.
Oh, and I love that fucking segment.
I almost cried actually by the end of that.
Sometimes I'll go back and I'll listen to the episodes and just like replay that.
Yeah, I mean, before the pod started, I said I was gonna refuse to do this segment, but doing it again after a year off, man, it's
I mean, you
It
know how
hits.
much it means to the viewers.
oh, and I can feel it in my plums when I'm fucking reading these off. It's magic.
Well,
Dude, we need to abolish this caste system. I'm sick of it being aired out. Like, oh, here's the upper crust, here's the upper middle, and these dogs at the bottom. Like, dude, get rid of this segment.
Yeah, I don't like
wow.
I don't like this pocket watch segment, I will say, but the people like it, so I'll bring it for the people.
He doesn't even like a segment that brings
Do
so
the
much
people like
joy.
it? I propose a vote in the
Oh, wow.
in the what's
You
it called?
should
In the
just
group me.
you should just ask Kuhn and give him no context.
Guys, does Austin
Uh,
Kuhn like Snapchat y'all frequently? Because me and him got good little conversations going on Snapchat now.
No, I
No.
I told him I didn't have Snapchat.
Oh
Don't
no,
talk
dude!
to
Like,
him.
you got to give Kuhn your Snapchat because it is entertainment to the max. Like,
I might have to do that. I will say though, if the one segment that I have a chance to speak on gets voted out, I might be a little upset. But because my co-host just likes to dominate this fucking the banter on here, so
hey, I'm not dominating any banter. No way. Here, how about you take this segment? Take a look at the Snickers power rankings, or not power rankings, the standings from Watson, and take a look at who fell and who rose the most. Go share that with us.
oh, actually,
Who needs to eat a Snickers?
final standing projections. Okay, Tuck, head on down to fucking 7-Eleven. I don't know if they. No, it's probably in one of the aisles. I was gonna say go to the register and get a little Snickers, but it's probably in one of the aisles. You can get one of the big Snickers. You need one, pal. You dropped 5 spots. I'm trending up. I had like 6 Snickers this morning for breakfast. I moved up 4 spots. Number 1, we're looking at Lights Camara Action. I think that's a little premature by Watson here. We all know this guy just crumbles under pressure. Second
Very
place,
true. Very
Olave
true.
Garden. Olave Garden at second. I'll tell you, I did. I can't speak for my co-host, but I kind of shit on him in my power rankings for week 1. So him up at number 2. Good for him. Good for him. I'm not mad about it at all. Follow Spike at number 3. He dropped from Watson's grace. He was number 1 starting the year, and now he's number 3. Number 4, standing steady, is the captain, the doctor, the Vava. Auto draft Shaft moves from number 8 to number 5. This guy is housing Snickers. Good for him.
I'm taking
Um,
him from the top and the bottom. As many Snickers as possible.
he's boofing the Snicker.
I'm boofing the Snickers.
he's boofing the Snickers. I moved up from 10 to 6. I still don't like where I'm at, but hey, what are you gonna do, huh? Yeah, Breesy, as I mentioned, he needs some Snickers. He moved to 7th. 8th place, we got DUI 2, Run the Streets. Don't agree with that.
Yeah, there's
Um,
work to be done. Like, little angry snorting emoji. John 3:16. We still running these streets.
The king of narcotics, Amon Percocet, sitting steady at 9, similar to his draft day ranking. And co-host, would you like to explain your fall from 7 to 10? How you feeling?
I think this morning I looked at it and I was not 10. So I think the trade that was made that changed projections might have, because I think that's what it's based off of. I think that trade literally shifted projections to send me into last place in Watson's eyes. So you
Wow.
know what, Watson? Can't say it's not deserved after last week. We'll see where we go from here.
Okay, and that wraps up our Snickers power rankings.
All right. Well, listen, it's been a good pod, but we have to ask, as we do. Oh, Jordan, what are we rolling with this year? Because we had the icy hot takes, but what about there was a shakaroni one that we did that you
I
ran?
forget. Yeah, I forget. I got the Dr. Thunder promotion. I didn't get Shakaroni again. We'll have to workshop and figure out who were you just meeting with. You said you were on a plane to
Sky Rizzy.
Yes.
get some
Isn't the
sponsors.
Shakaroni?
Yeah.
Isn't the
That's
Shakaroni the one that
What's
burns you up or
yeah.
oh
What's
something?
yeah,
burning you up? Yeah. So
what's tearing you up? Yes.
so Sky Rizzy. I'm really actually really angry that you actually just said that because I haven't secured anything yet, and I was gonna be like a surprise, but um I can't say anything until it's official, so
Not
I'm
my
gonna leave
fault you
that for
have
next
bad
week.
OPSEC.
What was that?
I boofed you, Sky Rizzy, at the start of this podcast.
Well,
Yeah,
I'm not under NDA, Sean. You didn't make me sign anything.
that is true. Um,
the fact that you're targeting a company that nearly ruined my life does kind of bother me, but
so
Go where the
so
money
for
is.
now we're still actually talking about the icy hot take. We're talking with Shaq right now. We're still in talks. There will a lot more to come week 2, but I do know that we still have the Shakaroni. We do still have the Shakaroni. I just double
okay.
checked. So Cole, what is something that after you get off a hard day of work, managing Amazon next to Bezos, and
We actually sit right next to each other.
I assume that, and you go home, and maybe
He
you're
was
with,
our
maybe he
best
comes
friend
home with you. I don't know how close if you're like that, but
It
you
depends on
go.
how bad the day was.
Okay, so let's assume it's a day where you go home together and you decide to split a shakaroni, and you get an extra large, and you eat that thing,
That's the second.
Listen,
and you are getting you
Shakaroni
are
is the only
getting
extra large.
within. I mean, you're
I don't
feeling
even know what
good.
you're
You're
asking of
feeling
me right now.
You're feeling good, you're feeling flirty, like you have a chacarone in your belly and all is good in the freaking world, and then all of a sudden you're headed to the toilet. You don't even know what it's like a blackout. You don't know next thing you know you're on the toilet and something is just tearing you up inside like a chacarone. So go ahead. In terms of it can be real football, it can be fantasy football. What Loesch is tearing you up inside?
That is, I genuinely hardly even know what you're asking of me right now.
What's something that what grinds your gears is the other way to say it, the more lame way to say it.
Okay, well, something that's grinding my gears is I genuinely think, and I don't necessarily like this, and obviously I know y'all have problems with it too. I have a fear that my auto draft year is gonna be my best year ever. I'm just gonna say it.
Dude,
I'm just gonna
haters are
say it.
eating so good. Haters
I'm
are
just
eating
gonna say
so
it.
good.
Well, I'll piggyback off that and say what's tearing me up inside is that we have an auto draft scum in this league. He is subhuman
Very
for auto
original.
drafting.
Very original.
Loesch,
Subhuman scum.
That's
Loesch, you do have to
yeah.
provide to the group me a timeline
I will.
proving
I
your
will.
innocence.
I will.
You know what is burning me up?
Oh boy.
What's
Boy.
tearing your asshole a new one?
This is something from real football.
Okay.
Okay.
Football's back. Thursday night. Ravens versus Chiefs, right?
Yes.
They call like 12 illegal formation or whatever it was on that multi-time all pro tackle, if I'm not mistaken. Ronnie Stanley or something like that. And then Juwan Taylor lines up even further back and doesn't get called for it all game.
Thank you.
The immediate drive after, the Ravens get hoed for it. Like I'm not saying that they are picking favorites, but man, just call it evenly. It grinds me up. It burns me up when that happens.
Oh, dude, after that Thursday night game, I legitimately had a thought in my mind. I'm like, I'm not going to watch football this year if this is how it's going to go. If they're just going to hand the Chiefs penalty after penalty after penalty. It was ridiculous, dude. It was so one-sided. And maybe it was just a bad week one all around for refs, but that was egregious.
And if you look at the way he lined up, it looked to me he just lined up a little more vertical. Like his stance was a little more upright almost. So, and this is a guy, like, I'm pretty sure I read he's like a multi-time Pro Bowler. Like, this dude knows his stuff.
Yeah,
It's not like his second year in
I
the league.
completely agree. I completely agree with you.
All
why I
right.
All right,
love drafting Chiefs players.
Well,
Sean, what's burning you up, dude?
It's a good.
listen,
good
I'm
idea.
getting shredded. I ate a shakaroni and then it shredded me up for like 2 hours. But then you know that like that little period, almost like the eye of a tornado or the eye of a hurricane, where it's just like you feel, there's peace. You feel
I have
better. Like you
tornado.
get torn up and now you're okay again. And I went and got another one. I did it. I'm not proud of
No.
Holy
it. I'm not
shit.
proud of it, but I went and I got another one and I ate it. And then this is what led me to this euphoric brown eye second shakaroni in 2 hours.
This is horrible.
It's real football. It's the NFC North and not the Lions because they're beautiful. They're winners. They're going to the fucking Super Bowl. That's not tearing me up. It's the fact that the NFC North, the rest of these clown fucking teams, are somehow getting just positive outlook when they clearly all stink. Okay, the Chicago Bears, and this is bothersome because the Chicago Bears put up 148 yards of total offense, and they freaking won. And now, the Bears, the Bears. No, the Bears suck. They played the
The
Titans.
Bears.
They're 1-0. Okay, whatever. They put up
Bear
148
down.
yards of offense. Caleb Williams looked like trash, which I think, unfortunately, he's going to be very good, but it's his first game of his rookie year. And they're not good. They're not a good team. They're not. They got sure good defense. Do they even have a good defense? It was the Titans. I don't know. So the
They
Bears
got a
want to
good
know.
defense.
Fake want to know. Fake want to know. The Vikings. Don't get me started on the freaking Vikings, man. They played the Giants. Everyone is overlooking this with the Vikings. This is not just fantasy wise. This is when I talk to people about the Vikings in general. They played the Giants. Sam Darnold is awful. Jettas will still put
Wait,
up.
dude. R/the Darnold wants to have a word with you.
That's fine. I'll take all the smoke. But Jay Jettas, look, he's gonna end up being one of the best receivers ever in that conversation. So look, he'll still produce. But you know what? He's not gonna produce because I watched Calvin Johnson produce with horrible quarterbacks, so I know Jettas gonna produce. But he's not gonna he's gonna give Loesch about probably what Loesch has got from him this last week because Sam Darnold stinks and the Vikings stink. They're not a good team. They're 1-0, but they're trash and they're going to continue to lose. Like give it 3 or 4 weeks and they're going to have like one win still. And then the Packers.
Wow.
Oh, the Packers.
Best team in the
Packers.
North. King of the
No.
North.
No. And you know what? Jordan Love, it just burns me up that you went down because now the NFL can keep slurping all over you and making excuses for why you're good when you're not because you
Is
went
that what it
down
sounds
instead of
like?
just playing for the next couple weeks and proving your
Yeah, that was.
proving your regression because Jordan Love is not good. He may be above average, but he's not going to be anything close to Aaron Rodgers or a division winner or a championship winner. He stinks. And so him going down gives
So are you
everyone an
admitting that?
excuse to keep slurping him.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt your
No, I'm
rant
done.
there. You're burning you up. So are you admitting that Aaron Rodgers was a great quarterback by saying Jordan Love will never be a championship winner? He'll never be as good as Aaron Rodgers.
Hey, listen. Aaron Rodgers is a great quarterback. As much as I
Oh,
dislike him, but he's not a top 5 all time. You got to confuse because there's great quarterbacks, but great doesn't have to mean the top 5 to ever play. I would say great.
Okay, but
I would say
then
we
what
could
it,
define great, but like great, I think expands to beyond the 5 quarterbacks. The best 5 to ever play the game.
Yeah.
And so with that said, I've said I think I'm on record saying that I would put Aaron just outside the top 10. So
outside the top 10?
just outside the top 10, like 11, maybe 12. So that's still great. If you're a top 10, if a top 11, 12 quarterback of all time, like I think that qualifies for great. But
Look, I don't know if I just don't know enough about football, but who the hell's 6 through 9 if Aaron Rodgers isn't in there?
I'll break out the list.
You can send it to me somewhere else.
I'll go through and I'll say agree with your take on the Vikings. I think
Okay.
Darnold is trash. I think Darnold is trash, and I think that Darnold is trash. So I think that team will not be good. They played who? Who'd they play? The Giants? Is that
They
who you
play the
said?
Giants. Yes.
Yeah,
Second
Giants
worst team in
suck.
football, if not the worst.
Giants fucking suck. So I agree with that take.
Reddit.com/r/the Darnold. Learn the truth.
Listen, the only truth that I know is Time Cube. That's the only truth I stick to. Fuck the Bears. Let's go to the Bears. I think their defense is actually good. I think Caleb Williams, and this is as a DJ Moore owner, will get better. So, do I think they're competing with the Lions? No, I don't. But I think they'll be a decent team. Go Pack Go though with Jay Love, bro. You might be in trouble.
No,
Jay Love is
literally.
the second coming, dude. You don't
Okay.
get it.
Now, I'll
Sure.
be honest. Love that game I watched. Not that impressive. I think he had like 2 good balls.
Yeah, no. If I'm being
You have
realistic,
more?
I've
No.
got a third growing out of one of mine. Might need to go get it looked at.
No, that's normal. That's
Two
like
good balls is all a man could ever ask for, JB.
I keep another 2 in the back of my throat for times like this.
most beta losers have 2 balls. So if you have 3, Jordan, you're you're an alpha.
Real alphas only have one, actually.
That's a
That's
good
true.
point.
You Dunk.
I need
Yeah.
to remove 2 of mine. But no, I think the North is the Lions division to lose.
Yeah, I agree.
Meaning they are the favorite in that division, and
God,
the
and
only
I
way they're
can't
losing
wait
it
till they
is if
lose
they
it.
fuck it up.
I cannot fucking wait
Don't
till
think
they
the
lose
Packers
it.
will give them trouble. I don't think the Bears will give them trouble.
The
And
Bears.
the Vikings won't give anybody trouble except the fucking Giants and the Commanders.
Yeah, I'll enjoy the process of getting back to the NFC Championship, and I hope it's the Niners so we can smash mouth them this year and get our way to the Super Bowl at the expense of Cole's team. So
Not gonna happen, but
that'll be
The
nice.
Wizards
appreciate
are
that.
Wizards are in the NFL.
Yeah, right. So, um, well, gentlemen, we've gotten to the end here. So, are there any closing thoughts? Anything you want to comment to the league before the next time you're on? We'll start with Cole.
Fuck the Lions, bro.
Okay.
Dog shit
Okay.
team.
Yeah.
Dog shit team.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's all I
Okay.
have to say.
JB.
Yeah, I'm just proposing for next year destination draft Compton.
Nice.
Okay. Not opposed. All right. Jordan.
I'll say good luck to everyone. Obviously, I hope I win. So bad luck to Va. Truly, I hope that we don't see injuries because something like Puka getting hurt that fucking sucks. Jordan Love getting hurt that fucking sucks. Especially when you invest high draft picks in these people or just draft picks in general and they end up getting hurt. So hopefully, injury week and go Bills Thursday night. Gonna beat some gay shark ass. Fuck the Dolphins.
Nice. Yeah. That comment about Va there sounded like it was really personal. Like there was actually a lot of intensity in your voice when you said that
Felt a
about
lot of
Va.
history in that
Yeah.
comment.
There was a lot of
I
history in that.
I don't even. I kind of blacked out when I said it. There was just so much emotion in it.
Yeah. Well, hopefully.
I forget what I even said.
Yeah, we won't remind you. It was something about a group chat and stuff like that. So, well, his family was in it. So we'll leave it at this. Look, same as usual,
You're gonna edit that, right?
something like that. So,
Turn
look,
it into a sound bite. Jordan saying that word needs to be turned into a sound bite.
that's a good point. I'll get to work on that right away.
You can do it because there's no hate behind it. Like there's no like I'm not calling gay people that word.
True. He's innocent.
Saying that to Sean. Sean's not gay. Or though
Famously.
is he?
Um, anyway, we all know why we do this. Always keep in mind, it's Harambe. Rest in peace, Harambe. Dick's out for Harambe. And here we go. Another good week on the horizon, boys. Let's get it.